guys good? Okay. Fox, you guys good? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good to go? Good morning. First, the mayor, deputy mayor, and Councilman Diaz offer their sincere apologies for not being here today. I would like to thank Congressman Gottheimer for choosing Hackensack to make this very important announcement. When our firefighters rush into a burning building, they aren't just facing heat and flames, they are walking into a cloud of toxins. In New Jersey, we've taken the lead. We recognize that early detection in this is the difference between life and death. The Fire Cancer Act ensures that whether you serve here in Hackensack or anywhere else in America, you have access to the life-saving screenings you deserve without worrying about the bill. Congressman, thank you for fighting to protect every firefighter across the country. We truly appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So it's great to be in Hackensack. It's great to be this fire department, but we've got some phenomenal people here who've done so much at the state and county level. I want to give them a chance to talk a little bit about what we're working on today, but we're going to begin with the pledge with Assemblyman Stanley is going to welcome us and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thanks so much. Now, I'm going to invite the chief up, and I know you're going to say a couple words in a few minutes. Chief Rosado, where's the chief go? Chief, please come up and welcome us to your firehouse. So thanks so much for having us. Thanks so much.
Thanks for being here. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the men and women of the Hackensack Fire Department, I'm honored to welcome Congressman Gottheimer back to Hackensack Fire Headquarters. We appreciate you being here, standing alongside us during this very important cause. Here in Hackensack, we know firsthand the risks that come with this profession. Firefighters face a cancer risk up to 3 times higher than the general public. The statistic is not theatrical for Hackensack FD. It is very personal. Hackensack FD has lost too many of our own firefighting family members to cancer. Some of those cancers were linked to the job and even 9/11 illness. We have stood beside our sick brothers during cancer treatments. We've made countless hospital visits and far too many difficult goodbyes alongside the family members that they left behind. Some of our own who passed from cancer many years ago were never offered the advanced screening available to us today. Because of that, we may never know how many of those who passed from cancer were truly linked to the job. Years ago, advanced screening simply did not exist. And today, thanks to efforts like the Congressman's, they do. With the Congressman's help, we know early cancer detection will continue to save future firefighters' lives here in Hackensack and across the country. This initiative will help protect firefighters who answer every call, knowing that every exposure may come with a cost. Congressman, we thank you for your continued support for our Hackensack firefighting family, and we thank you for recognizing the importance of protecting firefighters who protect their communities nationwide. So thank you, Congressman, for being here. Greatly appreciate that.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so
And
much.
at this time, it's my honor to introduce County Executive James Tedesco.
I just want to add one thing before you formally introduce him, because I got to talk about Jimmy for 1 second. Okay. Chief, Chief, thank you, and to your team, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. We'll praise you more in a minute, and the team, because they deserve it. I do want to, before introducing the county executive, say a word about him. I'm sure all of you here know Jimmy. Sorry, county executive, if I call you Jimmy, but you're Jimmy. Whether it was in a snowplow last week clearing or running into buildings like he still does to fight fires right now today. He still does that. right? Chief of the Paramus Department twice. Obviously runs one of and oversees one of the greatest training facilities in the country here in Bergen County. The county executive cares deeply, but not just on paper and fighting for budgets and doing the right thing to make sure that every person is protected in our community and every first responder has what he or she needs, but he does the job himself and has for decades. It's something that we all look up to. He's just a great guy because he's just a real person who does the work to protect us and fights for us every day. It's my honor to introduce the county executive, Jim Tedesco.
Thank you, Congressman. Chief, thank you for introducing me, and thank you for hosting us here in the city of Hackensack, the county seat, with all of the first responders that are here. Thank you for what you do every day to make this county the safe county that it is. I do want to say thank you to Congressman Gottheimer for his leadership in this bipartisan legislation. And I say bipartisan because there should be no one that is opposed to this legislation. As a 50-year volunteer firefighter, I've seen firsthand the toll that cancer takes on firefighters and their families. Cancer is now one of the leading occupational threats to firefighters. Every call is a potential exposure to carcinogens. The smoke and the buildings, the materials in the buildings, get into our gear, get into our lungs, get into our hair, get into every part of our body. That's why the equipment that we have is so important to protect us. And Congressman Gottheimer has been instrumental in getting us more of that equipment. Firefighters face a higher rate of cancer than the general population. You just heard the chief talk about that. That's not theoretical. It's a reality in every firehouse across America. Expanding federal funds and grants to support cancer screening and prevention programs like this are something that continues to need to happen. This bill provides access to multi-cancer early detection testing and ensures that firefighters, career and volunteer, can get screening without having out-of-pocket costs. Early detection saves lives. I'll tell you why. I'm a cancer survivor. I don't know how my cancer evolved. I don't know if it evolved through being a firefighter or the work that I did, but I know what it does to you, and I know what it does to your family. So having early detection and being able to stand and say you're a cancer survivor can only happen with the help of programs like this. So when I said that this shouldn't be a bipartisan issue, this should be an issue that everybody supports, I can say it because early detection saved my life. So the least we can do is to protect our firefighters from the long-term dangers they face, but they cannot see. So I strongly urge swift passage of this legislation. And again, I thank the firefighter unions, I thank Sloan Kettering, I thank everyone for being part of this legislation and saving firefighters' lives. Thank you.
We're very lucky today to be joined by two state legislators, Senator Greenstein, who's behind me, Senator Stanley, who you heard from the pledge. Both of these legislators ensured that in the state of New Jersey, screening for professional firefighters is the law of the state of New Jersey. It's because of their phenomenal leadership. I'm obviously going to talk about what I'm doing to bring it federally, but in Jersey, thanks to them, screening is able to happen, including screening that you will see today, and that will be available for firefighters here today in this firehouse. But if it weren't for them, if it weren't for the senator and the assemblyman, we wouldn't be having this paid for and covered in the state of New Jersey. So I want to call them up. Senator?
Thank you very much, Congressman Gottheimer, for the great work that you're doing in trying to bring this nationally to everybody. We were first alerted to this through the professional firefighters, Matt Caliente, who I know is here today, FMBA, and all the firefighters in New Jersey who were very big on the idea of doing something about this. And now we want to see it happen on the federal level. We're here to support the Congressman's recent efforts to bolster the health of our firefighters with the Fire Cancer Act, which stands for Firefighter Investments to Recognize Exposure to Cancer Act. Congressman, you've been a longtime supporter of our first responders, and I know that anything we hear about on the state level, Assemblyman Stanley and I are always among the first to try to do something about it. So I'm very glad that we've had a lot of success with that. And the announcement you're making today complements the action we've taken on the state level to protect our firefighters in New Jersey. Everyone has spoken about how cancer is the leading cause of death among firefighters who risk exposure to dangerous carcinogens while serving in the line of duty. An early diagnosis can give cancer patients the best possible chance for a successful outcome. And that's why we passed the state-level legislation expanding the ability for career firefighters to have routine cancer screenings at no cost to themselves and quite frequently, so that they'll be able to always check to see essentially if everything is okay. I'm not going to get into all the details of this other than to say that I will do everything in my power on the state level to help with what Congressman Gottheimer is trying to do. We so appreciate that he's trying to make this happen on the federal level, and I will definitely do what I can to help with that. So thank you to all of our firefighters very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Good morning, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you, Congressman, for what you're doing. Our congressman is the congressman of the people, and knowing very well that he's reintroducing this legislation really is a great thing, because of the fact that when we first did this 4 years ago, I was a freshman in the legislature, and it just started from a basic conversation I had with the executive board, and it evolved. And within 6 months, we were able to get this done with Senator Greenstein on the Senate side. And this is what elected officials, as elected officials, this is one of the most touching moments, these kind of bills, where it really changes people's lives. This has saved so many firefighters' lives. Over the years, wherever I go to major events, I have firefighters that come up to me and say, Assemblyman, thank you so much for this bill, because they just discovered a lump in my throat, some sort of form of cancer in stage 1, which is treatable. So before that, none of this was available for them. So we see in New Jersey how impactful it is for the firefighters here in New Jersey, and what a difference it is. So I am really thrilled and happy that our congressman is trying to make this national, take it national and make it available to every single firefighter throughout the United States. So with that, Congressman, I wish you well, and I hope that this happens, and you get to hear the same stories nationwide.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Before we get to some of the details, I just want to introduce somebody who's been, as was just pointed out by the senator and the assemblyman, a phenomenal leader in the state of New Jersey for the men and women he represents, for fighting for not just the equipment they need, the care they need, the resources they need and just getting their back overall, but to make sure their safety is met every day so they can come home and see their families and be there when their kids grow up. And Matt did a phenomenal job working with our state legislator and with me on my federal legislation, brought this idea and said this is something we should do federally, and we worked with the federal union. But Matt Caniente is not only a good friend, but a phenomenal leader of the men and women all across our state who protect us every day. And I want to thank him and bring him up here to say a few words. Thanks, Matt.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Congressman Gottheimer, distinguished guests, and my brothers and sisters in the fire service for being here today as we take an important step towards protecting the health of America's firefighters. As president of the Professional Firefighters Association of New Jersey, the PFA&J, I stand here incredibly proud. Proud because this movement, this commitment to protecting the health of firefighters and first responders started here in New Jersey. We were the first state in the nation to implement a comprehensive firefighter cancer screening program. And that didn't happen by accident. State Senator, who you heard from, Linda Greenstein, and Assemblyman Sterling Stanley led the way in our legislature to make this a reality. Their leadership ensured that our members have access to life-saving cancer screenings that catch the disease early and saves lives. We recognized that the dangers of this job don't end at the fire scene. The exposures we face follow us home, and cancer has become one of the greatest threats to our profession. The reality is clear. Firefighters are at a significantly higher risk of developing cancer than the general public because of the toxic environments we operate in every single day. Our program is proof that early detection works. In just the last year and a half since the screenings have started, with the help of our medical professionals, UDS, which you'll see later on today, the Grail test, cardiopulmonary, they have came together to create one of the most comprehensive screening programs. And that doesn't stop just with the screenings. We also linked up with Memorial Sloan Kettering MSK Direct so that once our firefighters do have a finding, we have expedited treatment at their facility to make sure that the care gets done and they get back to the firehouse. We've identified more than 10 of our members with cancer, many in the early stages, because if it was caught in stage 1 or 2 instead of 3 or 4, those firefighters have a fighting chance. That's not a statistic. That's fathers, mothers, sons, daughters getting more time with their families. And Congressman Gottheimer has always stood shoulder to shoulder with the first responders in this state and across the country. He understands the risks we take. He understands that sacrifices our families make, and he's consistently fought to make sure firefighters get the resources, protections, and respect we deserve. Today we are proud to stand with him as he brings the Fire Cancer Act nationwide so that every firefighter in America deserves the same protections as that we already have here in New Jersey. We led the way, and now it's time to make this the national standard to save lives across the country. And it is now my honor to introduce a friend and a true champion for firefighters and first responders across the country, Congressman Josh Gottheimer.
Matt, thank you so much. And again, to PFA&J and your leadership team, thank you. Thank you again to the councilwoman for having us here, Councilwoman Collins, and to the whole leadership team in Hackensack. Chief, thank you for what you do every single day, protecting us and leading the team. And to all the men and women in the firehouse here, thank you so much. I want to thank Senator Greenstein again and Assemblyman Stanley for helping us lead the way. The Hackensack City Manager, Tom Friedman, who's here, got somebody who came over from Englewood Chief, thank you so much for being here as well. Really appreciate it. Councilman Marte, Commissioner Marte, thank you so much for your work. And if I'm forgetting anybody else, you got John Hines from IAFF Local, Justin from IAFF Local. Thank you so much to both of you. It is a huge honor for me to stand with our firefighters today, the brave men and women who work around the clock to keep us safe. I do want to, again, huge round of applause to all of you who are protecting us. Thank you. I want to focus this morning on a number that should stop every one of us in our tracks. In 2025, 80% of professional firefighter line of duty deaths were caused by cancer. 80%. Not burns, not collapsing buildings, but cancer. Firefighters face a 14% higher risk of dying from cancer than the general public. You heard a stat 3 times more likely. That's a 5-alarm fire that doesn't make the evening news. Every day, whether it's a house fire, a warehouse blaze, a flood, a car crash, a terror threat, or a medical emergency, our firefighters, and all of our first responders, answer the call without hesitation. You run toward danger while the rest run away. Your courage is undeniable. And I see law enforcement here too. I want to thank them for your courage as well. But here's the hard truth. The most dangerous part of firefighting often isn't the flames that you see. It's the things you breathe in and what you carry home on your gear. The chemicals, toxins, and the years of exposure that build up. Nearly everything that burns these days is coated in or composed of nasty, toxic chemicals. Plastics, electronics, furniture, rain jackets, pizza boxes, you name it, all contain toxic, cancer-causing chemicals. Gone are the days where we cut down a tree in our backyard and build a chair. It's not the way it works. No, we treat the wood with heavy metals and glue it together with adhesives made from formaldehyde. The TV and the computers have circuit boards full of heavy metals like lead, calcium, and mercury. That's the stuff that sits in your lungs and blood and never leaves. The fire's over, but that keeps burning inside you. One of the most glaring examples we know about, the pile where the World Trade Towers stood. We've seen the devastating consequences all these years later of 9/11 first responders. Not just the nearly 3,000 heroes we lost that day, including 746 from our great state, but the thousands who became sick from working on the pile. Why? They were exposed to countless toxins, and many weren't wearing masks. So they breathed all that in. We don't even know what they breathed in that day, but it sat inside them. Heroes like Richard Kubler from Hackensack, Clifford Russell from Fairview, Neil Hallman from Voorhees. Their courage didn't end on September 11th, and neither did their fight. All these years later, decades later, we still have a responsibility to get the backs of those who stood for us that day, but also for everybody who's run into a fire or run into a scene to protect us. Because it's not just the 9/11 first responders who have developed cancer, it's so many more. It's many of you and firefighters from across our country. The most common forms are thyroid, testicular, lung, brain, bladder, and colon. Here's the part that really burns me up. We know that there are steps we can take right now to help firefighters detect these cancers before they kill them. That's exactly why I introduced the Bipartisan Firefighter Investment to Recognize Exposure to Cancer Act, or the Fire Cancer Act, so that every firefighter in America, volunteer and career, can access preventative care screenings at no out-of-pocket costs. This legislation says loud and clear, if you run into burning buildings for us, we will run through walls for you. First, the Fire Cancer Act expands the Assistance to Firefighter Grants, the AFG program, so that departments and EMS organizations, volunteer and career, can use AFG funds specifically for cancer prevention programs. including multi-cancer early detection testing for firefighters. That includes, again, these multi-cancer early detection tests like the GRAIL test. Also rotates firefighters through things like cardiopulmonary evaluations for skin, mouth, and lymph nodes, blood testing for other cancer screenings, and ultrasounds for thyroid, bladder, and testicular cancer. We already use AFG to help departments buy trucks, upgrade equipment, and improve operation. This bill makes it clear that protecting firefighters' health is just as important as buying new gear for them. That's why we also have fought so hard to make sure gear gets cleaned in departments, to do everything we can to get the toxins off. If you're a firefighter, you should not have to spend your time off fighting your insurance as well for screening. That makes no sense to me. You shouldn't have to weigh a copay against your family's grocery bills. And your loved one should not have to navigate a maze of red tape after a diagnosis. It should just be covered, no ifs, ands, or buts. It should be easy to go to Memorial Sloan Kettering. I'm grateful they're here. And you shouldn't have to deal with the bureaucracy there and the red tape. We should just take care of you. I know that's what our state senator and assemblyman worry about. Assemblyman Majority Leader and Majority Leader Lou Greenwald as well. Thanks to them, as you heard, we are already covering periodic cancer screenings for professional firefighters here in Jersey. Now we should do the same for all firefighters across the country, and we should also ensure that volunteer firefighters are covered as well, people like Jimmy. However, here in Jersey, firefighters enrolled in the state health benefits plan, just so you know, still can't access the GRAIL test, which is that blood test which gets those early markers for screenings. The other tests I mentioned, like thyroid, are covered, but the GRAIL test still isn't covered by our state insurance companies, despite many requests to cover. So I'm hoping they find religion on this and do the right thing by our firefighters. I've called on the state insurance companies to finish the job of covering screenings, all screenings, for firefighters by giving them access to the GRAIL test or other similar tests that find these multi-cancer screening tests. As GRAIL is continuing to go through the process as it's getting FDA approval. We know, and I spoke to a doctor this week, that GRAIL finds stage 1, stage 2 cancers. Early detection. That's the key to the early detection. I was just talking to the assemblyman about this early detection. One of the cancers they found, I think a thyroid cancer, was screened and found. It was so early that it was too soon to remove. It wasn't big enough yet. But that's when you want to find a cancer, like a pancreatic, right? That's when you got to find these cancers. Second, my Fire Cancer Act creates a joint cancer research program between FEMA and the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. Under this program, firefighters can voluntarily share anonymized results of preventive cancer screening and testing so the CDC can properly study trends and better understand the causes of cancers in firefighting personnel. You can't fight what you don't measure, and you can't prevent what you don't study. This isn't about politics. This is about keeping promises to those who keep us safe. And we're pairing that commitment with prevention. As I've said in firehouses across Bergen, Passaic, Sussex, and beyond, early cancer detection saves lives, period. That's the deal. Here in Jersey, we've shown that's possible. State law mandates access to these tests and reimburses costs. We've seen how early detection changes outcome. Now we've got to take that model nationwide. Third, and this is a key one, and we've talked about this, this is key. For all the firefighters here, we've got this stuff available, now you got to go take the test. You got to get screened. You got to do it. I know it's a pain in the ass, right? You got to do it, though. If you get the early detection, it saves lives. So we need to do everything possible, and I'll keep talking about this, it's part of why I'm here today, to sound the alarm for all you to please, these tests are available. Please go get them, get screened. Whenever possible, we're gonna take these tests right to the firehouses, right? That's what we try to do, bring them right here to make it easy for you to go get tested. Because I know you're busy, you got a lot going on in your lives, your personal lives, plus your work schedules are insane. All the stuff you miss as it is, this is an extra burden. Our job should be to make it easy for you. Chief, to make it easy for you and your team, right? So I want to make getting screened no harder than throwing on your gear. And just to show you what I'm talking about today, right after I'm done speaking, I'm going to go get that Grail test right here in the firehouse. I'm going to roll my sleeve and do it and show you how easy it is. Right now, right here, I think Matt's going to come do it with me. Anyone else? If we got enough syringes, you got enough? Okay, great.
We have the ultrasound upstairs. We're going to have the ultrasound upstairs.
Oh, and right, the ultrasound, we got a table and ultrasound right upstairs. So any of the firefighters here, you want to go get it? It's right here. One-stop shop, we make it easy for you, right? The test that I'm talking about that I'm going to get in a minute, it screens for more than 50 types of cancer, including pancreatic, lung, liver, colon, stomach, and blood, just to name a few. It can catch cancer early when firefighters may still be asymptomatic. And again, you shouldn't have to pay a dime for this. I believe in practicing what you preach. So let's go do it. These multi-cancer early detection tests can identify cancers before symptoms even appear. And the ultrasound machine looks for liver and kidney cancer and thyroid. You don't even need to get stuck with a needle, right? I got one done, I think, a year or so ago. You don't feel a thing. It's just an ultrasound. All these tests give you options and gives doctors time. And it'll give you more time with your families, which is most important. The key here is simple: encouraging more firefighters to get tested and to stay on top of regular screenings. Please do it. The job exposure you do gives you enough risk. Please don't ignore these risks. Screening saves lives. We owe it to you to make these screenings accessible. I also want to thank President Cayente and his team, again, with the IAFF, and helping develop this idea and helping us develop this nationally. Because we're here in Jersey, we get your backs, and now I know you're going to show us how we're going to get everyone's back across the country. As a member of the Fire Services Caucus, and I did my first event as a member of Congress in a firehouse with Jimmy, standing there. We were in Teaneck, and we were with Billy Pasquale, the late, great Billy Pasquale, who would right now be screaming at me about something if he were here, and yelling at me about something, about leaving something out. But I know that he really, really cared about protecting all of you. That's why we fought together for AFG and SAFER grants to make sure we help our local departments with air packs and ambulances and trucks and hiring and training and retaining firefighters. Thanks to you guys working together, we've brought home more than $17 million since I'm in Congress for our fire departments, AFG and SAFER. That means more firefighters in the shift, better equipment, more protection for you and our communities. We sponsor the Honoring Our Fallen Heroes Act to expand death and disability benefits for families impacted by service-related cancers. We just proudly passed the Never Forget the Heroes Act to extend the September 11th Victims Compensation Fund, and we secured funding for the World Trade Center Health Program, again, to keep that program going strong. And very proud of the fact that as co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, I helped champion the Bipartisan Social Security Fairness Act, now law, that ensures public servants and their families receive the full Social Security benefits they've earned, and that's what you guys get now, the full benefits, and that's what you deserve. The bottom line, this isn't a red or blue issue. It's a common sense issue. It's an American issue. It's a basic Jersey value. We should take care of us. You do it when the alarm sounds. The alarm is sounded for us in Congress. Our job is to take care of you and your families and stand by you here in the greatest country the world's ever known. We work together. Our best days will always be ahead. I'm so proud to stand here with you. God bless you. God bless our great country. God bless your families. God bless all of our first responders. Thank you so much.